Hello everyone, Jeff here. So the past couple weeks have been something of a transition time for us as we go from working on kind of the peripheral stuff like the launcher and some internal tools like the publish system. And instead we're moving towards working on the final fishing gameplay systems and some of the final gameplay systems in general, and also adding more content to the engine. There's also been a lot of work in the last couple weeks on improving kind of the internal communication within the dev team. I've added one extra meeting per month that'll be a regular scheduled thing. That's in addition to the monthly meeting we were having before where Patreon supporters were invited to listen in. This meeting will just be within the development team, and it's a chance for us to talk about some of the more tedious procedural stuff, make sure everyone's working on their tasks, and it's just kind of a chance for us to talk with one another and be open and honest with one another without a bunch of people listening in, basically. So I'm looking forward to see how that goes, and I'll continue to let you guys know how things are developing on the development team front. Obviously, that's a big part of Antilia, and it's something that kind of can get neglected a little bit. So I'd like to go ahead this week and take a look at what some of the other developers have been working on. We'll walk through that, and I'll also give you an update on the launcher and some of the stuff I've been working on. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I'd like to start out by taking a look at what Abigail's been working on. Abigail's been working on a few fishing poles. I've only got two of them to show here, but there's a third that has kind of a Raisui style to it. It was actually constructed by the Raisui. So it has a bit more details as far as like gears and things like that. This would be the simplest of the fishing poles, this one we're looking at right now. Just a simple kind of bamboo pole with a reel attached to it. There's been a few things to discuss when working on these, one of which is what kind of technology the TAPI have access to build this sort of thing. And that kind of comes up repeatedly as we're working on this. In fact, this wooden pole we're looking at now, if we take a look here, you'll see there's kind of this metal bracket that's holding the reel to the pole here. And there's a lot of discussion frequently as we go through this process about what the TAPI would and wouldn't be able to craft. Now, I've kind of given this one a pass as something maybe they could use cast iron to do. There's been other things that have been suggested that I've kind of had to say no, that they just don't have that technology, especially when you see things like screws. Rivets are okay, screws not so much, and definitely anything that looks like a machined part, I'm trying to say no, the TAPI cannot machine metal. They can do blacksmithing and they can drill holes, but that's the extent of it. So thanks goes to Abigail for working on these. I think they're looking really good, but also for being patient as we sort out kind of the building restrictions placed on artists. Next, let's take a look at what Loco's been working on. Loco's been working on naming and creating notes and just kind of brainstorming a bit some of these plants that we have kind of ready to go that will be imported to the game and used. Now, some of them, like I said, they're kind of temporary placeholder art, but some of them will probably be in there for a while. So we're trying to come up with some good, not just names, but also back lore and inspiration on how we're going to use the plants in the game. So Loco's done a great job. Some of these we didn't name because they're just going to be used as clutter. Others we put quite a bit of detail into because we know that they're going to be something like that produces fruits or flowers. It'll be a useful ingredient within the game. So he's done a lot of work naming all these and creating a bunch of descriptions. Really great stuff. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Here's some mushrooms. Mushrooms will have alchemy uses. So you get the idea. There's a lot of plants Loco's been going through and helping me kind of organize them and figure out which ones we're going to put in the game and how we're going to use them. So really terrific stuff. And just one more thing I want to take a look at here is I've added the ability for the Antilia launcher to download updates to itself, which you can see it doing right here. It's detected there's a new version. It's downloaded it. Now it's going to automatically restart when that progress bar fills, or I could click the button restart right now. It's important that the launcher itself can be able to update itself just so that when there's new functions we need, new features of the launcher, we don't have to download and install her again. So that's a really great feature to have. Well, that's going to do it for this week's update. I hope you found that interesting. Like I said, we're kind of in a transition period right now, so I think in the next few weeks, we'll start to see a bit more content in the game. Things should start to get interesting on that front. And I'd also like to start working on the fishing gameplay. That'll be, that really is kind of the fundamental gameplay to get right in this particular alpha. So exciting stuff up ahead. I hope you're looking forward to it, and I hope you'll tune in next time. See you then. A special thanks goes to this month's Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support the project, you can do so by visiting www.patreon.com/Antilia.